Hi guys, I am just going to first check this connection. Hi everyone, I know I'm coming back live after a long time. I've not been doing this enough, but I think today we have a super important topic. We're going to be discussing about PCOS, that is polycystic ovarian syndrome, and that is something most of my patients have been asking me about. 1 in every 3 women do suffer from polycystic ovarian syndrome or disease, and so today I'm going to be joined by a very dear friend and a very renowned gynecologist, Dr. Ankesh Sahitya. I'm going to add him. I'm just waiting for him. But hi guys, I'm open to all your questions. Everyone's just joining in. So it's going to be all about PCOS. It's going to be more about metabolic syndrome as well. But whatever questions you all want to ask me, it's not only for the girls, even the guys can ask, because this is a term that has been used so much, and suddenly a lot of people have been suddenly become aware of this, or just because of our lifestyle and the diet habits and the stress, etc. Everyone started figuring out that they're suffering from it, and there are a lot of myths surrounding it. So I want to bust most of them. So guys, I'm going to be open to all your questions. We're just going to wait for Dr. Ankesh to join us. Till then, anything you all want to say or want to talk to me about, I'm open to talking about this. What we're going to do is basically first talk a little bit about PCOS, and then what are the things absolutely you should eat, not eat. What is a doctor's role in PCOS? What does the gynac do? What are the different types of PCOS? And all of those things, plus just your basic lifestyle, what you can change. I am just gonna add Dr. Ankesh. Yes. So, okay, someone is saying I keep calling your clinic, and someone said, Hi,
Hi.
how are you?
How are you, Alika? Long time.
I'm good. I know, long time. This lockdown has made everything. Everyone's stuck at home, but I know, of course, you're working. You've been doing deliveries. That's something that can't wait. So how's that going?
So, going on, yeah, a lot of precautions. Life has changed. Wearing that 90 GSM PPE, wearing a N95, wearing a face shield, no relatives with the patients.
Oh
Patients, the
God.
husband and the wife and the baby alone for three nights, and very, very
It's
few or no
really,
relatives.
I'm sure the anxiety also must be at its peak right now.
It's I mean, you can't stop delivery and pregnancy, but the women are so scared because of the COVID issue for
Correct.
themselves, the baby.
Correct.
So everything is, a lot of layers of precaution. But we're hoping this ends soon with the vaccination coming out.
Yes, we're all hoping and waiting for this. Okay, so I've introduced the topic, and I've told them we're going to be talking about PCOS, and I've introduced you also. So let's start. Let's talk about what PCOS is. That's what I want to ask you. Just in brief, in layman's language, what most people don't understand or understand. Just clear it up for us. So what is PCOS?
First of all, Alika, thank you for calling me. You're looking very lovely today, as always.
Thank you.
So basically, PCOS is it's a very very well known term now, slightly overdiagnosed. But in a nutshell, it's basically any girl once a reproductive age starts, that means a period start, she develops symptoms. The most common symptom is irregular periods. Some
Correct.
get weight gain, some don't get weight gain. There's lean and obese PCO. But the common features with irregular periods are you see acne, abnormal hair growth, which is male pattern hair growth in the body and the face, hair fall. Along with that, a psychological symptoms like depression, low morale, self-esteem because of the weight gain. And
Correct.
if this thing prolongs into your late 20s, early 30s, you could be prone to even getting infertility. And if this doesn't get controlled by then, unfortunately, it can lead to blood pressure, diabetes, because in PCOD, there's high level of insulin that causes weight gain, causes all the symptoms of hair growth, all the symptoms of acne. More than that, the worst part over here is that if it's not controlled well, you could even be a person to develop a lot of metabolic syndrome problems like blood
Correct.
pressure, diabetes, and the worst case scenario is endometrial carcinoma. Yeah,
Correct. Correct.
yeah.
Yes.
So I would say that it's not that big a deal if it's controlled well. And the whole idea of meeting you today was about the long-term control about it. But usually, if you go to a gynecologist who knows the subject, knows his hormones, he will treat your hormones. Immediately after that, he will help you with your lifestyle modification, in which a dietitian plays the key role. I've
Yeah.
always told everyone, a person gains muscle in the gym but loses weight in the kitchen. So that, along with the hormone control, and of course, a generalized good lifestyle is what I think PCOS women can benefit from.
Correct. Okay, so that's very well put together. I think we've mostly understood that it is also overdiagnosed, as you were saying, a little bit, but it's okay. Everyone now knows, has Google, has access to so much information that, and they're so in tune and maybe even a little hyper about what's happening in their body. But it's fair enough. I think it's good to catch it earlier and do something about it, then wait till maybe when you want to conceive or later on, and then go through that kind of anxiety. Yeah. So okay, so I wanted to
I want to ask you something.
Sure.
So Alika, we as gynecologists, we end up taking care of the hormones. We help the girl get her periods and eventually even plan a pregnancy if they come at that stage. But I wanted to ask you, I want you to emphasize to everyone over here listening, what is the role of diet in PCOD? Can you specify on?
Very, very important. See, what I practice. Hi, can you hear me?
Now I can hear you.
Yeah, okay. So, as a medical nutritionist, Ankesh, can you hear me? It's lagging a little bit, but I think I can. The most important role of me being a functional medicine, medical nutritionist practitioner is whatever someone's suffering from can be treated with food. You can treat food as medicine, and medicine is going to become our food. Okay, so 1 minute. Let me just see if the connection is okay. Do you think the connection is fine?
You're blurring in the middle, but mine is going on fine. I think you're blurring. Is your Wi-Fi near you or something? Or
My Wi-Fi is on. My Wi-Fi is on. Should I switch to data?
Yeah, I think that's better. Both of us on data is better.
Okay, give me a minute. I'll go on to data. Yeah, much better. I think now everyone can hear me, right? Yeah. Okay, so cool. So what I was talking about is PCOS and diet, the importance. As we know now that insulin resistance is a huge cause of PCOS, or even if you have PCOS, you can get insulin resistance. It's vice versa. So what happens is insulin is a basic hormone that helps your blood sugar level control, right? When your sugars go up, insulin causes the sugar to, get stored or used as energy. But if long case, if you have high blood sugar levels, you're eating high carby foods, high sugar foods, and you have a prolonged high blood sugar level, suddenly what happens is your body overcompensates and too much insulin is released, which leads to insulin resistance. Now, too much insulin also causes a lot of testosterone being released from your body, which is the male hormone, and that then eventually throws off your female hormones, right? So the androgen hormones throw off your female hormones, and then starts the whole weight gain, irregular cycles, etc., etc. So a lot of studies have showed that if you just lose some weight, go on to a low glycemic diet, it can have very favorable outcomes. It can even cure your PCOS, right? A couple of other things. There are things like inflammatory. So I see a lot of PCOS patients are highly inflamed. So if I put them on an anti-inflammatory diet, that really helps them. Couple of other things, like if they have any deficiencies, like say a mineral iodine deficiency could lead to a thyroid problem, could lead to PCOS also. It's all connected. So correct your vitamin and mineral deficiencies. Make sure you're not having artificial sweeteners and toxins and all of those things. Clearing up the diet really, really helps in PCOS. That's what I've seen for sure. Yeah, so it has a huge role, and I have seen people being cured completely with just diet and lifestyle modifications. So I agree. That's what I believe in. Yeah. Okay, I want to know, so if someone comes, say now a patient comes to me, okay, and say I've seen, and they know, everyone knows they already have PCOS, they diagnose it themselves also, they feel like yeah, and they go to a gynecologist, they come to you. So tell me, what suppose I come to you, I'm in my, early 20s. I've not really gone to a gynecologist before. Suddenly, I'm having irregular periods, maybe a little bit of weight gain. I did a sonography and there was some cysts. I don't know what to do. What is your rule? What is the advice that you're going to give me?
Yeah. So any woman walking into your clinic, so as you mentioned, your example, for example,
Correct.
if you're in your early 20s, you can't generalize every patient of PCOS. Every patient is different. Now, there are lean PCOS, there are patients who are really obese, morbidly obese. So the first thing is the evaluation of the patient. Her menstrual history is the cornerstone of diagnosis. If
Correct.
the patient has not had a periods in say 2 months, 3 months, or having irregular periods, you have to know the 5 or 6 main key hormones. You have to invest. You have to first induce her periods. Now we've had patients who've not got their periods for 6 months or 4 months. They've come to us really bloated. So you do a quick pelvic scan. You diagnose the ovarian volume. The normal ovarian volume is about 5 to 8 ml is what we see in Indian population. If you see the ovarian volume above 10-15 cc, a large ovary with multiple uh, peripheral follicles, it's called the pearl appearance, pearl string appearance.
Correct.
If you see that, you have to immediately see her endometrial lining. It's a thickened lining because this condition is hyperestrogenic. You give her progesterone tablets to get her a period. Once you get her period on the second or third day of the period, not any time, during the bleeding when the hormone levels are at baseline, you investigate her for the basic serum LH, FSH, prolactin, TSH, and in PCOD, you cannot go ahead without doing a serum fasting insulin.
Correct.
You cannot go ahead
That's
and
very
do
important.
that's the main thing actually, and do a fasting blood sugar. If she has symptoms of acne, hair fall, androgenic symptoms, you have to do the androgens, serum free, and total testosterone. The list goes on depending on how bad the case is. There are various androgens. Once you get these reports, Alika, you have to make sure about the LH and FSH ratio. If the LH hormone is 2 or 3 times the FSH hormone, this is a typical case of PCOD. It's diagnosed with the ovarian volume and the ratio. LH above FSH, that means the periods will never be regular. You have to decide the patient is having overweight symptoms or hair growth symptoms. There are various kinds of OC pills, various in the market. We won't go into details. You treat her with the 21-day OC pill for 3 to 6 months, get the LH FSH value close by. Also, prolactin hormone, which can cause nipple discharge, galactorrhea, they make ovulation out of the question. Majority of the patients with infertility and PCOD have a high prolactin. You treat the prolactin, she's better. The worst case scenario is PCOD with thyroid problems, high insulin, high TSH. These women are always going to be feeling overweight, always going to be feeling a little down about their weight. You have to work on thyroid.
Yeah.
But all this is a matter of 6 to maybe 9 months maximum. The cornerstone, the main thing is lifestyle modification, in which Alika comes in.
But I have one question before that.
Sure.
Just because you mentioned these OC pills, and a lot of people abroad, in fact, they are on OC pills for many, many years, birth control pills. And here also, yes, we do have a lot of people putting, girls in their adolescent, teenager, whatever, early 20s onto OC pills. Just one question. Do you think that if you go off the OC pills, all your symptoms come back? Do they only mask the symptoms? Or and how long as a time period would you suggest for someone to have these OC pills?
Very good question, Alika. You've asked me a question which any smart patient or a person like you would ask. I expect this from you. So this is a double-edged sword. So we've had patients who've taken the OC pill, very happy with us, have recommended us to 4 other patients. Okay, he's damn good. My periods are regular. He's done it for me. But I have done nothing. The pill gets you your period. The pill will only act if you're concurrently losing weight, if you're concurrently changing your diet and lifestyle. I've told every patient, if you lose 10% of your body weight, if you're 70 kgs, 7 to 8 kgs is what you need to lose. After this 10 kg weight loss, your periods will fall into gear itself. You will become consistent with your periods, number one. Number two, your hormone levels will automatically come into balance. So the OC pills, I would say, are a bridge to get you from one month to the other month. But if you want to land on the soil, you want to be safe again, you have to keep losing weight. You have to follow a good balanced diet, which you will, of course, as the experts share with us. Also, exercise with diet. I would say diet is 80%, Alika, and 20% I would say is exercise.
truly
This is
believe
your
in
line,
that.
huh? This is your line I've stolen from you.
It is, but it honestly is, because you can mask the symptoms, but if you don't change the foundation, if you don't do something about it, you're going to
Nothing
come
changes.
back to square one, right? So, yeah, that's very important. You were asking me
Yeah.
something else, yeah.
Yeah. So basically, you asked me about the OC pill. So basically, yeah. So once you get her a hormones, you give her a 21-day hormones. You can treat thyroid, treat prolactin. You can treat insulin. Now, insulin treating has actually helped me a lot. You know, the combination of
Yes,
metformin with chloroinositol, dechloroinositol, various combinations are marketed. But you have to give it to a deserving patient with high level of insulin whose
correct.
whose periods are irregular. This is one category, like you give your example. Now, the second category is all this with someone planning to conceive. Now, also the value of the hormone AMH, anti-Mullerian hormone. Now, a normal AMH for a girl without PCO is okay, between 2 to 3. In
Correct.
PCOD, we've seen 5, I've seen 9, I've
Higher.
seen even 14.
Even
Yeah.
I've seen
So,
12, 14. Yes.
yeah. So, I would tell them, don't celebrate. If you have a very high AMH, don't think
Yeah,
like,
they
wow, it's
think, yeah,
awesome.
we're so good, we have so many eggs. Yes.
No, no, no. They have many follicles, but many of those follicles could be empty. If the follicles are empty, don't think that you have follicles, you get pregnant. You have to take metformin, work on your diet, lifestyle. Then, of course, by going to a fertility specialist, not necessarily IVF or ICSI, you can just start planning naturally, maybe little ovarian stimulation, a little
Correct.
follicular scans, and you can
Correct.
plan by timed intercourse or even by IUI, not necessarily IVF. So I've
Yeah,
always
that's
told
all
the
in
patient,
the later stage, yeah, definitely. But
yeah, yeah, yeah.
initially, see, the point is that if you start getting your periods, you know what, I honestly believe that your periods are a very strong indicator of your overall health. If you have periods that are coming regularly on time, you know, without all the overbearing PMS syndromes, not too much pain, not too much heavy bleeding, etc., it says that your body is in tune, your hormones are in balance, and with hormones, it is one goes off balance, the others go off balance. It's like that,
I
right?
couldn't have said it better than you. You said it
Yeah,
very well. If your periods are regular, half your blood tests are not even required. If you're
exactly.
having regular periods, you'll have a regular fertile period. You should not have a factor to not conceive unless there's another factor, the male factor or the tubal factor. But usually, if your periods are
It's
regular, you
it's really sad, you know, Amrish. What I feel is that a lot of women take it on themselves. Firstly, at the beginning of your life, you know, when you're working, studying, whatever, half of the time you're planning not to get pregnant, and then when you want to get pregnant, it's so difficult. It's a joke, okay? And there's this modern infertility crisis, which, you know, I feel is like, because women want to balance everything, want to do everything. There's no, you know, they're not understanding their bodies. They don't take a step back. They want to be the best at home, the best at work, the best everywhere. And then
not
when
doing
they can't conceive, so much societal pressure, so much everything, they take it all onto themselves. They don't understand there could be other factors as well. And it's a very systemic way that you go
I
about
agree.
it. You correct everything one by one. Don't start, you know, blaming yourself, because as you know, the stress itself leads to so much of infertility, right? So lifestyle is so important. First, if you
Number one.
correct, yeah, lifestyle for me, a couple of things in lifestyle. For most important things is, number one, because we're so overstressed and overworked, we have a high level of cortisol, which is a stress hormone, right? And cortisol, what that does is, when your body is stressed all the time, it causes a progesterone steal. So what that does is, when you are very stressed for prolonged periods of time, your body's focus is on making stress hormones and not the sex hormones. So you don't ovulate properly, you have irregular periods, you have so many other symptoms, right? Of course, the weight, because you're emotionally eating, stress eating, all those behaviors, everything is adding up because of the stress. So number one, try and find ways to unstress your, de-stress your life. Try and find ways, whether it is meditation, yoga, whether it is therapy, talking to a friend, listening to music, whatever works for you. Number two, I would say sleep. I think, you know, because of the lockdown, I take my histories of my patients, like, lifestyle is so important for me. Everyone is telling me they are sleeping at 6 a.m. and waking up at 2 p.m. And they're trying to conceive. And I'm like, how? And they're trying to lose weight. Firstly, you know, if you try and do all of that, mess with your system, melatonin, which is a hormone which is produced when you go to sleep, when it's dark, that actually helps preserve your brain, preserve your ovaries also. So you're not getting the benefit of that melatonin, right? And when you're sleep deprived, your body cannot regenerate, it cannot produce the hormones it requires. Plus, throughout the day, your willpower is so low, you want to eat carby foods. Late at night, you want to eat heavy foods. So sleep, I would say, stress, Exercise, of course, daily activity. I don't need to talk about how important, whether you do strength training, whether you dance, whether you do household chores, whatever it is, stay active. And these three things are very, very important. Stress, I would say, exercise and sleep. But one more thing which most people don't talk about and miss in lifestyle, which I really want to talk about, is these endocrine disrupting chemicals. They're known as EDCs, right? So from everything in our environment, like plastics, suppose we use like plastic bottles or whatever, they have something known as BPA. Then if you see your personal care products like your shampoos, your deodorant sticks, etc., they have products known as phthalates. Now what all these do is, you don't realize you're using them every day, but they have some kind of effect on your own body hormones, and they disrupt your estrogen progesterone levels also. So what I would suggest is, guys, please go through your environment, go as natural as possible. Okay, try doing this also, because we overlook this part, right? So fixing your environment, because anyway it's so polluted, so many toxins, etc. But things that you can go like organic and natural and stuff like that, read labels, try and see there are not too many complicated names, etc. This is very important to rule out. Maybe there's a whole list. I can share a list also of the EDCs. You need to learn to read labels, products you're using. Don't be, just blindsided and use whatever people are marketing. So this is important in lifestyle, what I really believe in.
On the same note, Alika, this is very informative. I'm going to call you for these notes. This is very good. I want to ask you, Alika, can you just mention in a nutshell the kind of foods women with PCO should absolutely avoid, so they don't have to worry if they're going wrong. Just mention what you feel is absolutely a big capital NO.
Okay, so I'll talk about at least 5 things, because I can't talk about 100 things if I want to. 5 things would be: number 1, sugar. We all know it's the devil, okay? Honestly, it's very difficult, very, very difficult. I know when you're PMSing, when you have irregular periods, you crave sugar. But if you can take all forms of artificial sugar out, I would say do that. Number 2 is processed foods, things out of packets, because they're high in sodium, they're high in trans fats, something known as high fructose corn syrup, sodium nitrate, MS, even your Ajinomoto. So all these things are there in even your packet of chips, which you think you can eat every day, has MSG in it. You don't even realize this, right? So there's certain things. So if you go away from processed and go to whole foods, natural foods, best, right? So number 2 is out of processed. Number 3 is refined carbohydrates, things like maida and things which have like high GI, so your pizzas and your burgers and this. Try and make, I know everyone wants to eat it, so we can try and go for healthier swaps. Like for example, if you want to do, instead of maida, you can go for jowar, or you can go for ragi. Instead of noodles, you can go for zucchini noodles. There are so many swaps we can do. Okay, so do that. What about dairy and gluten? So these are 2 things which most people, are very worried about. They don't know. People say you can have it, people say you can't have it. History says that everyone's been having it and people have been having babies, nothing happens, whatever. So I'll tell you my take on this. Honestly, my take is that yes, I have seen when I reduce gluten and dairy in people's diet, it really, really, really helps in the PCOS, improvement in the outcome. Now, this is my theory why. It's because firstly, the kind of milk that we're drinking is not like it was before. The cows and buffaloes are pumped with hormones to produce that kind of milk and antibiotics. So somewhere it does affect our body and our hormones. And milk, lactose is inflammatory. So instead of drinking a glass of milk, I would say have dahi, have ghee, things which have a low content of lactose, right? And gluten also is inflammatory to a certain extent. Some people react more, some people are more sensitive, some people are not. So if you can find, healthier, like other options like jowar, oats, ragi, whatever, there's so many options of grains, etc. I would say even rice. I don't mind rice also. For some time, if you cut these 2 things down, it really helps. And lastly, I would say alcohol, caffeine, yeah, you can moderate or go low on these. Yeah. And artificial sweeteners, yeah, very important. So all of us want to lose weight, and now on all these artificial sweeteners, they're really affecting your body and your hormones. So try go natural sweeteners. Even if you do little gourd or jaggery or honey or whatever it is, little, it's fine. But don't overdo it, obviously. And try and swap anything with labels if you can.
Excellent. I think you've given such good advice, which people have difficult to achieve. And I think we should go more natural, more organic, and more real. I mean, I always, I keep hearing from my grandmom and my nani that, have ghee wala roti, kuch nahi hota. Your grandfather used to have ghee roti, used to have these sweet dishes, ye, wo. He's worked so hard. what are you doing, diet, all these fancy words. But I feel if you eat healthy and you just exercise and be active and follow someone like Alika, life is going to be much better.
See, everything in moderation. I'm not saying I don't eat, things I don't enjoy, things which people enjoy, right? I love my cheese, I love my this, that, whatever, it's fine. It's fine in moderation. Try and get your good sources if possible, try and let be not that processed if possible. But otherwise, it should be fine. These are the things you must avoid. What else? See, there are a lot of things which I also wanted to say, but I want to ask you this question now because we're talking about PCOS and infertility. If, say, a patient comes to you, with a history of PCOS, and she's a younger patient, maybe she's not trying to conceive, okay, but later on, say she, is going to plan a family soon or whatever. What are the steps as a gynac? AMH is something which is so most of my patients don't know what it is. Even when they are in their early 30s, they don't know what it is, right? Maybe because they've planned and, they've conceived naturally. But some people who are having a difficulty or they don't know and then they see AMH levels low, they have a history of PCOS, they're scared, they come to you as a gynac. What would your suggestions be to them?
Yeah, so if you're planning to conceive with PCOS, you have to be a little more careful, but not to worry. PCOS patients
it's
don't have an
possible,
issue.
Right? It's possible.
Yeah.
People are really scared.
In 2020, I don't think anyone with PCOS should worry, but yes, you require, as you already said, regular periods. A regular period every month would mean a regular fertile period every month. If your periods are within 35 days, you will have an ovulation period. Of course, there are known to be anovulatory cycles, but don't worry. There are hormone tests, serum progesterone is there, sonography, your endometrial lining. You can see a real ovulation dominant follicle every month on doing a scan in a patient with PCOS. I would say not to worry. Start your concurrent holistic approach. Lifestyle modification, which is the 80% diet, 20% is the exercises you can do and your lifestyle. You can have your yoga, you can have exercises, you can have various things. We'll come to that in a bit. If your hormones are gotten to check, if you're having regular periods with regular hormones, you can have a simple ovulation induction cycle. There are various drugs. There's letrozole, clomiphene. You require to be monitored by a gynecologist by ultrasound every second day of your cycle once the pills have been started. You have to know when to have your timed intercourse or your IUI.
That's very important.
If you're guided well, Alika, if you're guided well, I haven't seen any PCOS patient taking more than 2 or 3 cycles if all the parameters are normal. The husband's sperm count or tubal patency, if everything is normal, I haven't seen a PCOS patient struggling for more than 2 to 3 months. If there are other factors involved, despite this not conceiving, then she can look at IVF, ICSI, ART. But usually, a newly married couple, no history of any infection, no history of any male disorder, anything to do with the husband's erection or the semen count, I don't see a problem in a patient having a problem to conceive if her periods are regularized and her lifestyle is going good. Second thing I've observed, many patients, once they conceive or once they deliver, they slip back to PCOD. So again, I would say you can leave your medicine, you can leave your 21-day pills, but don't leave your exercise and diet. Lifestyle modification is a constant in your life. Because this can come back. There's no permanent treatment like you remove a fibroid or a tumor, okay, fine, you don't have it. Even that might come back. That's something else.
PCOS could be a lifelong thing, you're saying?
Yeah. If you don't control it, you're asking for the adult PCOS, which is PCOD. You could develop as a chronic hypertensive, a diabetic, someone who's going to have irregular periods all her life, might require a hysterectomy in the future, various issues. And the worst case scenario is the complete metabolic syndrome with obesity, hyperlipidemia, diabetes, blood pressure. So just, if you want to be like a consistent batsman, be like Virat Kohli, Sachin Tendulkar. Why are they considered so good? They are consistent. They played every game, every series.
Is so important. You cannot. Yeah, that's what it is. It's not like you have a child and you've conquered PCOS and you've done everything. It's going to be with you if you you make the right decisions, you get the right results. It's as simple as that.
I've told everybody, I've told friends and all family, it's very easy to fall into love. Very easy to start a relationship. What is important is maintenance. How you maintain your behavior throughout this.
Every day. You have to.
Yeah, it's not like you got the ring, you got the guy or the girl, you're sorted. It's hard work. Marriage is hard work. PCOS is hard work. If you're consistent, it becomes a habit and you are sorted.
And you don't have to be so scared, so worried. I think all the stress and the anxiety just adds to, this whole myth around it. And it's like, oh my god, whatever. I feel like they all have this feeling that, my what will happen, and plus so much of pressure there are. And I'm seeing so many young women not getting their periods for like, I've seen 6 months and plus. And they get so worried. Their mothers are so worried what will happen. They in fact are okay with it. Their mothers are like, how will my child ever conceive, etc., etc. They feel so worried. But with medication, with science, with lifestyle, it's all possible. And it's not the end of the world. Yeah.
Now I'm going to put you into a little bit of a consult. Now imagine, Alika, there's a girl come to you. Now let's say any girl, huh? Okay, maybe not as nice as you, but anyone having a problem with anyone who's been not very sincere with their medicines, hormones.
Yeah.
I've always told you diet, and you also told me diet is the main key, consistency.
Correct.
Imagine you're giving her a consult for her diet for PCO in a nutshell. PCOD diet, what is the balanced diet in PCOD? If you can enumerate, I think people will really be thankful to you for the entire day, weekend, whatever month.
Yeah, for sure. See, I would say it's simple. Make a checklist. Okay, I keep all these checklists with me because these are the things you must have, right? In a day, or just make sure that you're consuming these things, and everything else, okay, around it doesn't matter. What sabzi, what dal you had doesn't matter, but at least these things try and get in. Okay, so number one, food group. There's certain food groups according to what you really need. So number one, I would say, is healthy fats. Okay, so now I see a lot of women coming to me wanting to lose weight, crash diet, blah blah blah. They forget and they don't realize how important healthy fats, omega-3s, are for them and for their reproductive health. So number one is healthy fats. Now, what are your healthy fats? Not your refined vegetable oils, but in fact your ghee, your coconut oil, your olive oil, nuts like badams, walnuts, seeds, chia seeds, pumpkin seeds, avocados. All these are your healthy fats. So number one, healthy fats. Number two, I would say folic acid. So whether you're trying to conceive or not, folic acid is very important. Okay, folic acid has basically all your dals, pulses, your leafy green vegetables. Okay, and especially if you're trying to conceive, if you have PCOS, you can even start taking a supplement of folic acid, right? Number three, I would say, is protein. In India, 9 out of 10 people are actually protein deficient, whether they're vegetarian, non-vegetarian, whatever it is. It's really sad because this is an actual survey that's done. So we don't understand the importance of proteins because our diet is very carb heavy, right? We need the roti, we need the rice, whether dal ho gaya, nahi ho gaya, it's okay, but sabzi, little bit, or whatever we are having. So protein, and that too, the importance of protein is you divide it equally between breakfast, lunch, and dinner. What happens is breakfast is usually carb heavy, something like poha, upma, or something, and you don't do any protein there. That's not right. You need some kind of protein. Add in sprouts to your poha. Add in, peas into your upma. Do all these things. Add in a little protein there. Lunch and dinner must have protein, right? So protein sources are whether you're vegetarian, non-vegetarian, all your dals, your meats, your lean meats, your fish, all of these are good for you, eggs, etc. Then number four, I would say your minerals, okay? Things like zinc and magnesium. Very, very important. If you're taking a multivitamin, see, there are a lot of vitamins that I give PCOS patients as well, right? As you spoke about inositol, omega-3, that is the fatty acid. I give them probiotics, whether it's natural food-wise, which is yogurt or fermented foods, or even a probiotic. These are really important. But a multivitamin which has zinc, magnesium, and chromium are equally important, right? So zinc and magnesium you'll get in your green leafy vegetables, your seeds, your nuts, your dals. These are something which you must have. Then apart from that, whole grains have to be a part, complex carbohydrates. So even if you're doing little rice, if you're doing a little chalo wheat, also chapati, it's okay, not bad, right? But try and go for millets like jowar, try and go for oats, try and go for things like rajgira. They're really ragi is high in calcium. All these are really great grains, and you can try and have different grains. You don't need to have the same thing every single day, right? These are important ones. Apart from that, hydration and fiber, especially even if you have PCOS, it really helps. And zinc and fiber, even when you're ovulating, it really helps for your ovulation. So fiber is basically your fruits and vegetables, whether you like apples, pineapples, carrots, beetroot. So I would say, make a green smoothie. That's really good for you, and I'll give you the recipe if you want. Very simple. You can add in whatever. You can add in, some spinach. You can add apple, banana, chia seeds, almond milk, all of that. Make a nice smoothie. Peanut butter to give you the good fats. You can do a lot of these things. And the last one, I would say, spices. So we don't use our spices enough. But number one, cinnamon is great for PCOS. So I would give you a cinnamon tea. Maybe you can add in a little bit of honey and lemon into it. Just boil it in water morning and evening. I would say haldi, turmeric, which is, obviously everyone knows how great, how it works. It's anti-inflammatory. So at night, but remember, haldi has to be taken with some fat. So if you take haldi with water or haldi as is, it doesn't work. It doesn't get absorbed. Remember, haldi should be taken with little ghee or little milk so that it gets absorbed into your body. So maybe at night, a little bit of milk, a little bit of haldi, pinch of pepper, maybe some cinnamon is great for you. Other things like tulsi, ashwagandha, these are the Indian things which really help. I would say apple cider vinegar, aloe vera, green tea, all of these are anti-inflammatory and really help your body plus weight loss. Then your vitamins, as you know, which I already spoke about, your multivitamin, etc. Especially these groups of food must be there in your diet when you have PCOS. Everything else can be worked around. We can work around that. Yeah.
Excellent. Alika, I have to admit, I have learned so much in this last 5 minutes. But I'm going to steal all these tips and tell my patients, and eventually, I know where they're going to be going next.
So I'm just seeing a few questions, right?
Sure.
People are asking about dairy, right? Bad for PCOS, dairy to avoid. And I already spoke about this. Again, I just want to reiterate that, see, dairy itself is not harmful. There's certain kinds of dairy, like if you take a skim milk, actually it has a very high level of lactose. But if you take something like a dahi or a ghee, it has a very low level of lactose. Now, lactose is the milk sugar which most people or many people can be irritated to, sensitive to, or have inflammation in their body. So maybe you can start off just having your dahi and your ghee and stuff like that, not drinking milk itself, or putting just a spoon. You get dairy alternatives now easily, like a coconut milk or an almond milk. Don't want to spend money, don't want to do all the fancy stuff, avoid it if you can, because I have seen, as I said, within 2-3 months, even things like paneer, honestly, they don't have that much of lactose, the high fat, right? So those things you can have, maybe milk products, but don't consume too much of dairy. Body is not used to, actually we're not meant to digest cow's milk or buffalo's milk. It's not there in our body. And I don't know, it's, nowadays I started seeing how, because as kids we were, used to drinking that 1 cup milk for calcium, this, that. If you get your calcium from somewhere else, you really don't need to drink that glass of milk. And there are a lot of children who go off milk and they're seeing their behavior, their, lifestyle, energy levels, etc., have improved, right? So we need to understand that the source of dairy, is it really necessary for, that calcium, which if you're missing out, what else can you take? Protein, what else can you take? If you substitute, you can really cut out dairy. It's not a must.
Excellent. This is, I think, people know what to do now. Exactly.
Endometriosis. So someone's asking, I think this is for you, about endometriosis cyst, I think.
Yeah. So basically, I saw that question. So I would just say one line, that endometriosis is, again, just like PCOS, or hyperestrogen disorder. When you have high levels of estrogen, very high, which is more than progesterone, again you have abnormal endometrial gland growths outside the uterus. The normal uterine cavity has endometrial glands. When those glands develop outside the uterus, on the ovaries, on the fallopian tubes, on the body of the uterus, sometimes in the abdominal organs, the intestines, this is an issue which causes infertility. That's the biggest problem. Painful irregular periods. Second problem, and third problem is that you eventually become a patient of abnormal uterine bleeding because you have irregular and painful periods. Infertility becomes how you diagnose it. Patients who have infertility, they end up going for a laparoscopy, ultrasound, MRI, and they see an ovarian cyst, and that requires treatment. So that's a different large chapter. We can take it up again in some other life.
But in general, it's basically because of high estrogen. Again, that means your hormones are not balanced, and how to get that back under track also is to eat more foods which promote more progesterone and all of that. So that's a huge topic. But yeah, overall balance, what I said in a nutshell of what you should be eating is very important. If you just do this with lifestyle modification, I think 90% you're there. And then, a little bit here and there is okay, but at least 90% you get there in terms of correcting the base, the foundation. Then everything else that has to be, cleared and followed through can be treated with medication or procedures or whatever. Right?
Lika, one question for you. It's a good question. I have patients asking me this every other day. Majority of the girls want to look good on their profile picture on WhatsApp and Instagram. Now, what is the most important, what is the most beautiful jewelry she wears? It's a lovely long hair.
Correct.
Now, what do you do for hair fall in PCOD? Alika, if you can just specify the diet point of view, I can back you up on the medical point of view.
Correct.
reproductive right. But about the diet for hair fall?
So see, again, hair fall is a huge topic. I would like to say that firstly, we need to get to the source of it. Now, if you know PCOS and hormonal imbalance is the cause of hair fall, you start correcting, number one, the hormonal imbalance. As I said, we follow the kind of diet we're following. But to add to it, what are the other things that are great for your hair? Number one is your omega 3s, which I said your healthy fats, these oils, these nuts, badams, all of that. Number two, I would say, is definitely biotin, which you get in nuts, which you get in eggs, which you get in a lot of things. Okay, biotin is even there in green leafy vegetables, etc. So biotin is important. Your omega 3s are important. Then all your other deficiencies like your minerals, like your zinc, magnesium, etc., are important for your hair. Protein is very important. I think people who are lacking in protein have a lot of hair fall, right? So correct these four things, make sure they're there. Apart from that, I would like you to have like nice greens, have a nice say again a smoothie, a vegetable juice, add in doodhi, add in amla, add in palak, beetroot. All of these are really good, and suddenly you'll start seeing. I think one more last important thing is coconut is really good for hair. So whether you're having coconut water with say some chia seeds in it, or you're having fresh coconut in the form of a chutney or whatever form, coconut is great because it has the healthy fats also, and it's really, really good for your hair. Apart from obviously applying any kind of hair oil, etc. And don't really worry, so much about it, because if you improve this, nuts and seeds are one thing which I want everyone to add into their diet daily. Just a handful, maybe almonds, walnuts, some flax seeds, some chia seeds or pumpkin seeds. Keep a handful, like just at 4-5 o'clock when you want to munch, just have them, or sprinkle them over a salad if you just don't like to have them. And these are really good apart from your normal phytonutrients which are present in your fruits and veggies, all your different colored fruits and veggies. Iron is also important, so I would say beetroot is really good. Black raisins are very good. Rajma, so all these black purplish, and plums, all these black purplish fruits and veggies, purple carrot, cabbage, all of them are great. Good source of iron, even your chicken, etc., and even jaggery. These are good for your hair.
Wow, wow, wow. I think anyone watching this last question of the previous one, the Valika, if you have a paper and pen, you've done well today, and the video is again going to be shared for you all. Very nice. So I would just back this up on a couple of lines of medical management. So just as you're doing the blood test for PCOD, investigate for vitamin D3 and B12. The pure vegetarian diet in India, I've seen very low D3 and B12. Also thyroid. A hypothyroid patient with high TSH could have hair fall, very brittle hair and continuous hair fall. So thyroid, vitamin D3, vitamin B12 is the cornerstone. I just saw a question on hair fall with acne, with abnormal hair growth. Do your basic androgens, male sex hormones, which are testosterone, androstenedione, 17-OHP. If you do that, you'll know exactly if your levels of the male sex hormone are high, you'll have the male pattern, hair growth, and hair fall.
I want to just add for high testosterone levels, a little bit of flaxseed, walnuts, and spearmint tea. These are three things which are really good to naturally reduce your testosterone levels. So the phytoestrogens which are present even in soya. So depends on what kind, but if you have high testosterone, soya, tofu, whatever, that group, plus your flax seeds, plus these walnuts and almonds and spearmint tea, these are good naturally to get your testosterone levels down.
Very nice, very nice. So I think we covered up everything very well.
Yeah,
is there anything?
I think, most of them are covered. They're talking about coffee if someone's asking. So coffee, honestly, what do you think? I see, as what I think is coffee is not harmful. In fact, even, a little bit of caffeine, that's like 200 milligrams. If you have 1 or 2 small cups a day is okay. Should not be a problem. Even in pregnancy, people do keep asking me, can I have my cup of coffee? I think 1 small cup of coffee is okay. It's not, the end of the world. But if you can get off it, then nothing like it. Yeah.
I just saw the very common question, sir. I always get periods after Devry. So Devry is the basic progesterone tablet, metroxyprogesterone acetate. There are patients who will be taking Devry every month since years or every 2-3 months. That's not the solution. That only gets you your period. After you get your periods with Devry, please do all the hormones I mentioned in the earlier part of the video. Do your basic LH, FSH, prolactin. Treat those. Treat the cause. If you treat those hormones and you take care of your lifestyle modification diet, you won't require Devry again. Maximum 3 to 6 months of all this, and you won't require to take Devry every month.
Yeah, so my question was, how long can people be on the OC pills? Like, is it safe to take it for 5-6 years continuously?
No, no, no. See,
If
now
I'm
I'll tell
not
you.
planning to, conceive or
Yeah,
anything,
yeah.
can I take it for like, 7-8 years and be okay? And then when I
No, no,
plan
no.
to conceive, I can just go off it a couple of months
I
before.
I would say, Alika, maximum at one stretch, 6 to 9 months. Now, I had a patient, I remember, who came from Egypt. Now, she was having beautiful skin with the OC pill. The particular brand
Yeah,
was
yeah,
marketed.
that's what all of them tell me. Skin, hair, we glow, we
Yeah,
want to
yeah.
continue.
Like, she was like, doctor, I've never looked this good, and the attention I get. And she was in her late 30s and unmarried. So she was taking her OC pills, I think, for a good 3 years. 36 months I documented. And very happy, showing me the packet, telling me how she takes it, never misses a pill. She came to me because despite taking the pills every month, her periods got scantier, 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 and finally her periods stopped. She had premature ovarian failure. She had post-pill amenorrhea. Now, the
Oh my
post-pill
God.
amenorrhea is so scary. The woman develops early menopause. Her hormone levels are so used, and the body is so used to getting the regular pill that now, for example, if she has to get a period on her own, she won't get it. Number two, even the ovarian volume had gotten very, very small because of the continuous pill intake. Number three, now if she wants to conceive, have a child, it is very, very difficult to restart the ovaries and get that. So I would say maximum under your gynecologist's prescription, a registered gynecologist, 6 months or maximum 9 months. If you have to take it beyond that, take a 2 month break. If you're using it for contraception, you can switch to your husband wearing a condom or some other loop or copper T. Don't take the pills every month if you're taking for contraception. For PCOS, 3, 6, or 9 months. No gynecologist worth his salt will give it to you for more than 6 months at a stretch unless you are really, really deserving it, and with caution of a month, 2 month break.
Yeah. Okay. I think we've covered most of the topics.
Everything.
I think we've covered everything about PCOS. I feel like I diet wise, medically,
Yeah, yeah.
whatever.
I think diet has been covered up so well. This must be the best video on Instagram in the last few weeks on diet. Thanks to you.
No, no. Thank you for getting me
Thank
to do
you.
this. I've
Yes,
been
yes,
so
yes.
bad with coming. I've been telling everyone I can't do
I
live. I
have been
can't do
after you. I
live.
didn't give up. I don't
I
give up,
know.
Alika. I don't give up. Because
I
you
know.
see, in my practice, I treat PCOS and I tell the patients high protein, low carb, high protein, low carb. But no one's broken it up so well that you take this color food for hair, for acne.
Make
You've
Yeah,
taken
I
up it
think
so
make these checklists. What you really need to have. This is the nutrition you need. This is like, say your weight is, say, whatever, 60 kgs. You need 30 to 50 grams of protein in a day. How are you going to have it? At least be informed about it. Know that you're having it. Then if one day you have a pizza or you have a burger, it doesn't really matter as long as you're getting the right nutrition. If you're going to be deficient, if you are, in more, if you have everything available to you and still going to be deficient, if you're well educated and still not informed about what your body needs every day, it's so senseless. It doesn't make sense. This is one thing everyone should know: what their body needs every day to function, because you want to function at the end of the day optimally to your best potential. So if you don't know what you need itself, and you have to come to someone and ask them, what do I need, can I do this, can I do that? No, learn to understand your body, learn to understand what you need, and work on it. Look, I'm going to tell you, for a few days, for a few months, for a few
actually.
people want me to like monitor them and call them every day. I said, I'm not going to do that, because that won't work. It's like, when the OC pill is there, it'll work for you, and then when it's not there, you get back. I was like, I'm not going to do that. You need to understand this change has to be from within, because you want it, not because you want to lose 5 kgs in 5 days, because that is not the point of it. And if you reach and if you go for that scale, and if you think of that, it's going to be short term, it's never going to be long term.
You'll
So
always be so anxious. If someone tells you lose 5 kgs, 2 kgs, I'll get so scared that I'll have to weigh myself every other week. Have I lost half kg, 1 kg? I'll stop eating it. I'll never be happy. So
of
just do it
course,
gradually.
food is your friend. Food is such a good source of joy. Food is such a good source of connection, socially, physically, mentally. It's nutrition. It gives you fuel. Don't treat it like the enemy. Don't, say no, 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 no to everything, and then have such an unhealthy relationship with food. So I think it's really, really important.
Alika, one thing on PMS, I have a short answer. In PMS, what to avoid? So
Yeah.
I would from my point of view say in PMS, you often get the anxiety, you get migraine, you get abdominal pain, breast tenderness. So all these are the premenstrual symptoms. I have seen in my practice like the foods you avoid in migraine. Like for example, in migraine, we've been told to avoid a lot of caffeine, nicotine, no smoking, no drinking. Excessive tea and coffee is a big no. Excessive chocolate eating, cocoa is a big no. Stimulation to bright light, stimulation to loud sound, like hard rock music or bright, going to a concert, seeing spotlights. If you can avoid all these things in your PMS space, it's very good. And if you want to add anything on the diet, Alika, for
Yeah,
PMS?
I would like to add one thing. So a lot of women, even I go through it, we start craving something chocolatey or something, heavy just before your period when you're PMSing. I think that is because your body doesn't have enough magnesium. So magnesium, I would say if you can take a magnesium citrate at night, just maybe when you're PMSing or during your period, or you can, a little bit of dark chocolate, okay, but otherwise other sources of magnesium like green leafy vegetables or seeds and nuts, if you start having more of them, it's actually because of the deficiency that you start craving these things. Cravings are very, very closely linked to deficiencies. And your migraine is because of your estrogen dominance also. So you don't, you want to get that back in check. As you said, those things obviously. And also, I would say a couple of things. A fennel tea, that is your soft or your variali, what it's called. I suggest a lot of people to start boiling it in water and drinking it, especially during your PMS, during your period, for the nausea and just for that feeling. Cinnamon, as I said, and ginger. These three things I feel like are really good for PMS bloat, PMS, and even the pain, the cramps, and magnesium. If you can take a magnesium citrate at night before going to sleep, it's going to help you with your sleep. It's going to help you with your cravings. It's going to help you with your deficiency. Little dark chocolate here and there is okay.
Alika, you've really shared your experience and practice very well over here, and I want to thank you. And I want to say sorry for being after you every single day.
No.
I know you're very busy and very, very happening. I know everything.
I won't stop. You know that, and I can keep talking.
No. So you have passion for you are where you are because of your passion for your subject. I believe if you don't have passion, you can never be a good professional. So if you're a good, passionate and good
of course,
person,
you have to truly
become good in
believe
your
in
work.
it. I think if you don't believe in it, people won't believe in you at all, right? If you're not selling what you are sold, what you believe in. So that's it. But thank you so much for calling me.
My pleasure.
I hope it's really helped people.
Alika, you can save the video as an IGTV, so those who missed it can review it. And even I'll share it on my page on the IGTV. You have to save it.
Yeah, I will save it. I just
save it and you can tag me. Okay.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. Good session.
Bye.